Hey, what's up guys? I'm Brian and this is Andrew and we're here at New York Comic Con 2015. We've been playing games all weekend long, or at least as many as there were here. Not a ton.
A ton of games here, yeah.
But you did play one big one that's coming out next year.
So I saw a demo. It was hands off, but it was really cool. Hitman. We just called Hitman. It's kind of like Need for Speed's doing that too. They're kind of, the idea is like back to basics. Just call it kind of like,
so
like
it's
a soft
not,
reboot.
It's not like Hitman Go, Hitman
No,
Murderers
not like
Union.
Hitman 8. Yeah, Hitman Murderers Union.
Killers Club.
I don't think the murderers have unionized quite yet.
This is why I don't subtitle games for a living.
I think that's why you made.
So what'd you think?
It was really cool. It was so it was that whole idea of being back to basics. The mission we saw was like in this fancy mansion. They were doing a fashion show, but the fashion show was actually a cover for like the real bad guy. And there's this real bad guy who's there that you want to kill, and you know he's going to be on stage at some point. So you have a ticket to the fashion show. You walk in right through the front door. It's not like you're like climbing the building. It wasn't like Assassin's Creed or anything. Like you just like walk right in, and then from there you very methodically have to get your way to this dude. And
I'm laughing because like ticket to the fashion show sounds like the opposite of like ticket to the gun show. Like it's for somebody with like really skinny arms. We'll continue.
That's also really good. Man, that made me lose my train of thought. Yeah, it's so you go in and you have like a bunch of like guards and people you need to sneak past and stealth, and so there's like the expected things of like turning out the lights and doing all that. But the cool thing is they kept saying over and over and over how there are like a million different ways to do all these things. And so it was kind of cool because since it was a hands-off demo, since there wasn't someone playing live, it was this, and it was like a pre-recorded thing, they would do these like bum, 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 and show you like 3 different ways you could do it in that moment.
Right.
So it's like you would walk up to a guard, and it's like one of the things is just like, you know, putting your elbow around his neck and like knocking him out. Then the other one is like a dude swinging his sword at his neck, you know, it's just like.
Which is like way less subtle, right?
Drastic experience. It's a little less subtle, yeah.
A little bit less subtle. I'm a big Metal Gear guy. I'm playing a ton of it right now, and it's really interesting to see the way the stealth genre has evolved over the years. Where like if you think back to like the early Splinter Cell games, where it was just sort of like you had this little pop and shot gun, you could throw a tin can.
And that's the thing. It's generally like aggression or non-aggression. Like I think like Dishonored's a really good example of it, like low chaos and high chaos, where like there's a bunch of different ways you can do it, but it's generally very binary. Whereas this really does feel like you have like, it kind of like what Assassin's Creed is doing with the black box missions, where you do have like all these different ways to approach it. This feels like the big picture is generally going to be the same, but your individual decisions feel like there's like a bunch of different things you can do, which I really like.
So when Hitman kills somebody with a sword, like what's that look like? What's the cleanup like? How do people not notice all the?
We just see a quick burst of it, but I think they do, right? I guess the idea is like if you're doing that, then you do have to be ready to take out all the other guards,
right?
Or, you know, and that's like where stealth gets interesting. My favorite part was at the end of the demo was basically so you're on like a catwalk and you cut the lights and you're like luring guards over and taking them out one by one. Same thing, either lethal or non-lethal. And it gets to this point where it goes to a cutscene of the guy coming out on stage. Like the guy you've been waiting for is walking the catwalk, or walking the runway rather, and like coming out to the front. He's like, hey everybody, thanks for coming to the fashion show. And then last you saw, you were on the catwalk above him taking out guards, and now you're in a cutscene, but it comes out of the cutscene and you're standing next to the stage, you're no longer up on the catwalk, and he just like, Agent 47 just starts walking
That's great
away.
Stealth.
Yeah, that's really, really impressive. Regular David Copperfield. But no, he starts walking towards the camera, and while this dude's on stage, and literally the entire catwalk, like the entire like 30-foot long catwalk, falls. Like he went to fall, just crushes the dude, crushes the entire runway stage as everyone starts screaming, and that was where our demo cut off. But like I thought that was just like such an explosive, insane way to end that demo, because it's just like, I expected it to be like you sit in the catwalk and shoot him, or whatever it is. Like a very simple thing, and I like that it can be that bombastic and insane.
So I guess that's kind of the difference between Splinter Cell and Metal Gear and Hitman, is that you can go in and just be like, no, I'm a hitman. Like, it's my object is to kill them. It's not just to knock people out all the time.
And that's the thing, it's really interesting. You know, part of me doesn't like that it's kind of like revels in the violence as much as it does. You know, like I think like in Assassin's Creed, there's that interesting thing where you kill somebody and you have that moment of like talking to them in your head and like explaining why you're doing this and what the kind of goal is. Whereas here, it's less of that. But I mean, to your point, he is a contract killer. Like his goal is just kill this dude by any means necessary.
So when can people play Hitman?
Early next year, they have this very interesting release model where it's coming out, it's like takes place all around the world. Certain countries in it will come out first for I think it's like $35 or $40, and then like the rest of it comes in later, which is kind of an interesting release schedule. We'll
so
see how that
it's kind of like
it's like staggered,
country-based episodic.
Yeah, so it's like you'll get, you know, this part of the world, and then like the next one's come out. It's like maybe like Russia or whatever it is comes out later. So it's again like super interesting, and it'll be interesting seeing how that kind of pays off for them. But
cool.
I'm excited to see more. I think it's a really interesting kind of return to form for the franchise.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I'm Brian, this is Andrew, and this is Comic Con 2015 right here in New York. Keep it locked right here to IGN for all this cool game stuff and fashion stages exploding and old dudes dying.